everyone. Very cute GM here, back with another episode of Dojo Pro reviews. We were gonna call this Kurojo Pro, but my Photoshop skills are not good enough to turn Dojo into
Mm.
Kurojo in that same font. As a display of my Photoshop skills, you see that my wonderful cat French Fry, who is representing Ryan in the video because he doesn't have a camera, does a spectacular job being. I put in air quote. Well, you see me put in air quotes Ryan on several loops of feed. He was a very good boy. He ate many treats while being very
Hmm.
patient and sitting in front of a microphone in front of my backdrop. So you were represented pretty well, I would say.
I don't think it'd be much different. You know what I mean? Like that would still probably be my skill set. You know.
I mean, French Fry is a champion napper.
Mm.
I don't know if you have got that on your resume.
Though, like amateur championship.
Amateur, amateur,
Yeah.
amateur. I see, I see. So, episode 2 of Dojo Pro, we have the current white belt being that of Kevin Koo versus Gunnar Miller. So, they had a recap of last episode's episode
Hmm.
and just tells you pretty much everything that happened. I wonder how long these. Do you think they're just going to recap each episode or do you think they'll go through the whole thing?
I think it
Because it.
depends on who. Like if the white belt has been defended by the same person for a couple episodes, I think they might do like his story arc.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think like we probably won't hear about Kevin Koo anymore. Spoiler: we
Spoiler alert
probably
if.
won't be hearing about Kevin Koo much anymore. I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Although
Well,
I
seeing
did, I
who.
did have a question for you
Mm-hmm.
about all
Yes.
this. Knowing how you feel about entrances and who should be coming first or not.
Okay. I thought about this. I know where you're going.
Like so, the the white belt is the champion in this situation, but like is
How.
the lower seed working his way up the ladder. How do you feel about the white belt coming out first?
So I thought about that as soon as I saw Ku come out. Well, I'll answer this question first, and then we can get to the promo packages. When initially I saw Ku coming out with the belt first, my mind did like a hard stop because, as Ryan has probably hinted at, I never liked the champion coming out first. It it pisses me off. It's like one of those pet peeves I have with wrestling shows. WWE does it all the time. And every time there's a pay-per-view and the champion comes out, I will bitch to Ryan that, oh, the champion came out again first. Why?
Mm-hmm.
But I understand why they did it, and I'm a little more forgiving with this. Seeing that Kevin Koo is on the lower rank on the ladder, I can see why they did it this way. I had to do a hard stop in my brain to think out this situation, and I accept it. I don't know if I'm 100% into it, but I accept it, which is a lot more than I can say for other promotions who have their champion come out first. What did you
Okay.
think?
I mean, I don't have. I prefer the champion to come out second. Like you, but I feel like in this case it makes sense. Like even though he's the one with the belt, the idea is to climb the ladder. You were seated. Like just by the way the ladder works, the white belt is always going to be, you know, the lower tiered of the two, opponents.
Yeah, and in tradition, in martial arts tradition, the white belt is usually the beginner belt. So But that doesn't even make sense in that case because if you have the white, what they should have done, and let me, it's a little crazy to think about. Each member of the ladder should have you have your white belt and then you have your yellow belt and then you have your blue belt and yada 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 yada.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I assume this show was on a budget, so having that many belts would probably be a heck of a waste of money and resources.
To be carrying around that many belts. Say you've collected, say you started at number 12 and you made it all the way up there, and then you just carrying around, 11 belts.
I mean, we can have an Ultimo dragon situation. They could do it that
Mm.
way, but I don't I don't know what that many multicolored belts would look like. It would also be very nice for a you know gay representation. I mean, you have all these belts
Mm-hmm.
of so many different
Mm-hmm.
colors, and we all know how inclusive wrestling is these days. I could use that as like a picture or something. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but then at the same time, it is pro wrestling. So what really does make sense?
Everything.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, everything makes sense. I mean, you have the Undertaker, who's an undead wizard. You have Luchasaurus, who is a dinosaur. Yeah, wrestling does make perfect logical sense. But uh,
Imagination.
imagination. So I want to get into the promo packages of Ku and our new our new person, Gunnar Miller. So they kind of had a dueling promo situation, but Gunnar was given his piece to say. So, what are your initial? So, we all know what we think about Kevin Koo. Just in case you're just tuning in to this second episode, we don't think much of Kevin Koo. He's
Well, I will say I think Kevin Koo came off a lot better in this package
yes,
than he did in the first episode.
I think so too. Kevin Koo, we described as a little bit. His character is a little bit lacking, but he showed a little more character in this promo package. But your initial thoughts of Gunnar Miller?
Um, like from the initial package, I felt like he left a lot to be desired. Like I know it felt like he was trying to play like the like hey Leo like the not like a cool heel, but like he was just out there to win. He didn't care what people thought about whatever. But like his delivery and everything just felt very like uninspired. I felt like, and then as they go into his story, and they mentioned the connection to the Ultimate Warrior and how like Ultimate Warrior really got him into professional wrestling, and I'm like, is that really the guy you want as your mentor though? Like you don't hear about like Ultimate Warrior being like this great worker and like being like wrestling. It's just kind of like out for himself. The stories you hear.
Yeah, but pushing that aside, it must be kind of cool to have your childhood hero. Let's for 1 second, let's push aside all the bad things that Ultimate Warrior has said and done. It's a lot of things. I am literally pushing this mountain of things away.
Uh,
It must
but
be
I don't
kind
know.
of
Go ahead.
it must be kind of cool to have a childhood person that you looked up to call you every week apparently.
Yeah.
If like one of the Power Rangers called me called me every week, I'd be stoked. I'd like be like
This is
cool.
Jason David Frank.
Oh, let's push that mountain aside too. He's done some things. He seems like a nice guy now, but he's done some things in the past. Allegedly.
Mm.
But yeah, I did have that knee jerk reaction too when he said, "Oh, I painted my face like the Ultimate Warrior," and he happened to call me, and I'm like, "Oh, oh."
But he was a football star, so he's going to be great.
Oh, football, yes.
To underline football 3 times.
I put football several times as well throughout this whole thing, especially when the commentator during the match started talking about his past again, like we forgot in the last 10 minutes.
Well,
like went through the whole thing.
So not even just the warrior thing, but just like when he was telling that story of the Ultimate Warrior calling him in like his dorm room or whatever. There wasn't a whole lot of like personality that shined through. Like his delivery was like, "Oh wow, that's the Ultimate Warrior." Like, you know what I mean? If you could be like, like you'd be a little pumped, you'd be a little excited, like like whatever. It just felt very kind of robotic.
I'm trying to think back to Big. So he is. It says on his trunks when the match starts, the Hoss. So I'm trying to think back to big Hoss wrestlers. Were there any that had a lot of personality? When you think of big, like,
everyone in the 80s was about being a big hoss and having a big personality and not really
that's true
having much else.
That's true. And a lot of them, were a lot of them football players, or was that a more recent? Well, a couple of them are football players. Mongo was a football player, right? Can't forget Mongo.
No, I mean, yeah.
I recently heard that nobody had anything bad other than his wrestling ability. Nobody had anything bad to say about Mongo. He's a little stiff. Yeah, they even on commentary, he was still even bad on commentary. They all consider anybody he worked with. They all considered him a really nice guy. He was just terrible at what he did. He tried. He got the participation.
Really, that's all you can do. All you can really ask for someone is that they try.
Yes. But yeah, all I really got from this guy is he is from Tennessee. He was the captain of his football team, led them to some conference or something, and Ultimate Warrior called him. Grr, look at me. I am big man that just wants to win. Yeah, I didn't really care. Honestly, about this man.
Like I said, just his whole presentation was once again kind of bland and just like, yeah, like I'm Mr. Strong football guy. It's okay.
Right. Yeah, this promo makes me hope that when we get to characters like Joey Janela and James Storm and Shane Strickland, even Ricky Starks, who is amazingly charismatic if you know his work from the NWA. I'm looking forward to see if it's just the way these promo packages or the direction that the TV show is trying to take with these wrestlers, if it's just a TV show or if it's the wrestlers themselves. I'm really interested in this now because they have some very charismatic people coming up.
We've now seen 3 competitors.
Yes.
And Kerry's package was great. I thought that was really good. And Kevin's on the first episode, I'd say, was a miss. But on this episode, when they kind of had his whole, like, I'm the underdog guy going into this fight, I thought he ended up looking a lot better. And then I would say Gunnar's was kind of a miss again. So you're kind of like 1.5 out of 3 right now, I consider doing well.
Yes. I agree with that. So, do you consider 6'1", 241 pounds, like, that is big to the normal person? I am a tiny woman, so that is huge to me. But among the wrestling world, I feel like that's average.
But I also kind of feel like that's like I'm actually looking something up right now. So
I tried to find Kevin Ku's stats on Cage Match, but I couldn't find them.
240 is going to be pretty big. But if you put someone like that in like the WWE, he's not going to look, giant.
No.
But I feel like, like as you see like the independents or even like AEW, whatever, that their roster aren't all giants. That when someone's 6'1", 240 is going to look, pretty impressive.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Takeover was just dating this episode. Takeover was just this past Sunday, and in that Takeover there was Keithley versus Jodi Gargano. I never realized the size discrepancy between a regular man and Keithley.
Mm-hmm.
And even Kevin Koo doesn't look that much smaller compared to Gunnar Miller when I saw them side by side. I don't think so. I think maybe Gunnar Miller had a few inches on him, but I didn't think he was that much bigger than Koo. I mean, they built him up. They built him up as this big hoss, but it I don't know.
When you have the hoss written across your crotch, like you kind of have to, you're writing a big check.
Yes. So Gunnar Miller is called.
And the whole time, I'm just waiting for Michael Cole to go, "It's hoss time." But
don't. At least the commentator is not Michael Cole. I will give the show this much. So, because he was captain of his football team, Gunnar Miller is the people's captain.
I thought it was the people's coward. I thought that was.
Well, we'll get into that when the crowds we talk about the crowd, but the people's captain. Okay, is he? I feel like when he was coming up with his gimmick, because he's been wrestling for about 4 years at this point during the taping of the show. Do you think that's all he had? Do you think he's using the same gimmick that he started out with? That would be interesting to find out.
It's possible, but I feel so. You got to think about it. He's coming out of the Southeast, right? Or like he's Tennessee or something like that.
Yes, he's Tennessee.
And us being located in the Northeast, like college football and stuff isn't as big of a deal up here as
that
it is
true.
Down there. But so I think he's like, in that sense, they're banking on the people that he's going to be performing in front of he was the middle linebacker for the blah 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 blah,
Yes. You're absolutely right.
And so then to people like us, it's kind of like, I don't know who you are, man, and you just kind of look silly, like almost like an Al Bundy, I was someone 6 years ago, okay, man.
That's true. There's also, now that AEW Dark is still on YouTube, there is another person called the Captain that wrestles on AEW. He calls himself the Captain, but he calls himself the Captain because he's from the Navy. So I don't know if he is. I know a lot of them are from QT Marshall's wrestling school. So I believe it's Georgia based. So I don't know if. I don't know. I'm trying to make some connection there, but my mind's just going all over the place at this point. But yeah, so I mean, if he's into it, if he's into being the people's captain, then he's into being the people's captain.
You're always gonna draw heat when you claim to be the people's anything. You know what I mean? Like who the hell put this guy in charge?
Right.
So
Yeah.
He's trying to do something, I guess, but it's whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make me hate him. It just makes me go, about him. Okay. So I know something. So I watched this episode twice. So I got some notes. I don't know how I feel about it.
Did you know the crap? First off, do you watch this with the subtitles on or off?
I watch it with the subtitles off. What did you know? Did you watch them with the subtitles on?
Watch everything with the subtitles on.
No.
Because it's just how I roll. And
it's cool if you roll like that, but what did you notice? Because I had no subtitles.
so I mean, this is really small and it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning of the match, when they come into the uh, arena or
Yep.
studio or whatever you want to call it, and you have the Dojo Pro faithful, they're chanting, they're going Dojo Pro, Dojo Pro.
Yes.
According to Prime, what they're saying is go, 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 go. And I thought that kind of gave me a little bit of a chuckle.
Okay. All right. So as we had alluded at near the beginning, Ku does come out first with the white belt because he is 12th ranked. Gunnar comes out second. They get into ring.
Pick up that they
Gunnar,
referred to Kevin Koo as a punk kid.
right now he's 31 according to his cage.
I was sitting there, I'm like, he was like 30 when this was filmed, but okay.
30, 29 maybe. I mean, it's weird how in wrestling you call people in their late 20s or early 30s kid. I've noticed that more lately. This punk kid. Do you know Darby Allin is actually, I think he's actually 27 years old, but everybody keeps on telling me he's like 23.
Yeah, you think he's like a baby.
And they keep on calling him kid too. Yeah, he is 27 years old, according to his Wikipedia page.
I did a little bit of internet research, and you know who trained Kevin Koo?
I looked this up on his page. He was trained by okay, I can't think of it at the moment, but I know I saw it and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
The firebrand Brian Fury.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So Brian Fury is from he wrestles for Chaotic, but is it Chaotic or Beyond that he was trained at?
We've seen Brian Fury at Chaotic a few times. I think we actually caught like one of his last couple matches going into his retirement tour or whatever.
We did, but I'm interested in what school in New England Pro Wrestling Academy. Okay, so I guess they just train everybody around here. I saw Brian Fury and was like, that's really interesting. So Kevin Koo has his entrance. He comes out with the belt. They're all cheering. Gunnar comes out. He saunders. It's not even a saunder. It's like a walk. It didn't even have any swag to it. He's just walking to the ring. It's a regular walk, a slow walk, but a walk. There was no. I felt like there was very little personality behind this walk. Was it he trying to convey a tough guy walk? Was that what he was trying to convey?
I think so, because I mean, in his hype package, he had that whole thing where Kevin Koo said something like, he doesn't like me, and Gunnar Miller's like, it's not that I don't like him, it's just that I don't care about him, and that he had a very like almost like a Kevin Nash's type character, and like I think it was TNA or whatever, where he's like, I'm not a wrestler, like I'm a businessman, like he's not out there to make friends, he's out there to make money. So I feel like it was kind of, that was the type of attitude he was trying to portray, that like he's out there and he's just here to do the job, collect the W and go on his way.
I see. I'm looking at Kevin Koo's cage match page right now. He was part of a stable called Sad Camp. And then now I guess they renamed it because it's with the same guy. It's called Violence is Forever, and it's current.
Okay.
All right, so he's a violent guy. They even mentioned that he has a T-shirt. I think it said something along the lines of "If I die, I die."
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's violence is his forte. But anyways, so Gunnar Miller does a slow walk. I noticed before, and Kevin Koo gets all uppity and shows the white belt in front of Gunnar's face, flashing it in front of him, saying, I got this, blah, blah, blah. Did you notice that the referee, right before he started the match, yells 3, 2, 1, ring the bell?
And uh, which is kind of why I'm okay with the Kevin Koo coming out first with the belt and all that stuff, because everything in this has kind of felt like a video game. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like the ladder feels like Mortal Kombat. You got the character, the cartoon drawings of the wrestlers and stuff like that. And so even the 3, 2, 1 has that very like Street Fighter, fight
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, mode. So I was all right with that.
Okay. I
He
noted
did
it.
not have pink shoes though.
No, this was a different person. This was a male referee, a black male referee this time, as opposed to a man. I don't even think they mentioned. Did they mention his name?
Pink
Do you
shoes?
remember? Not Pink Shoes Lady. Ref. The ref this time around. Because I know
Did they mention it either time?
I. That's how I know her name was Amanda. I think last time.
Yeah, I didn't catch this guy's name.
Okay. I didn't catch it either. All right, so we start up with a lockup. Gunnar pushes Ku to the corner. Ku is trapped in the corner, so he pushes back on Gunnar. That is when we hear somebody in the crowd yell, "C is for coward," or something along those lines. So Gunnar is now the people's coward.
I love that one. He thought that was peak comedy.
I feel like the believers in the temple come up with such better names. Like Luchasaurus. They came
I
up
mean,
with that.
that is like S tier, though. You know what I mean? Like,
So where would you rank the crowd for Dojo Pro? If Lucha Underground's crowd, let's say AEW and Lucha Underground's crowd is pretty S tier, and WWE crowds are maybe C tier, C rank.
is it the
Where would you
Monday
put them?
after Mania?
Oh,
um,
oh, I don't
not,
know.
but I mean, the crowd. Like everything in this episode was better than the first episode for the most part. Like I enjoyed this episode more than the first one.
It was shorter. It was only 20 minutes.
Well, they didn't have to explain the whole ladder and all that fun stuff.
That's true. That's true. That is very true. I'm just taking a look. Yeah, the last show was 27 minutes. This show we currently had watched is 20 minutes. The next show is also 20. Is also well, it's actually 19 minutes with the Wheeler Utah coming up, which I'm very interested to see that because I know some of Wheeler's work. Right now, interestingly enough, he is since everybody's on lockdown, he is learning how to play the steel drum, and he's not bad at it.
Okay. Well, he can
Yeah.
work that into a match somehow, right?
Maybe when he comes back. Warhorse has already featured him on his soft rock radio show. I have a lot of time on my hands, Ryan. I try to support these guys and go on their Twitter and share their stuff.
You
I
gotta do
can't
you.
afford I can't afford every single wrestler's T-shirt. I
but
want to.
subscribes and likes are free, right?
Yeah, so at least I could try to show them to a greater audience, my very small audience. All right. So we have a C is for coward. We see Ku tries to low tackle Gunnar, but Gunnar pushes him off. We see Ku try to do some kicks and strikes from afar, but then somehow Gunnar catches him and like smacks him across the head or something. I noticed just as I'm reading through my notes, I've noticed that there's a lot more back and forth than I thought there was going to be in this match. Because initially I thought because Gunnar and I put in quotes, so much bigger than Ku, that this was going to be a lot more one-sided.
Yeah, and I think Koo did well, like I said, in that underdog role. Like all his comebacks felt like I felt like they worked better than with Carrie Awful.
Yeah, and you also heard in the beginning that Ku knows of Gunnar. they've wrestled in the same promotions before. So one would actually. Is there a way for me to search who Ku has had matches with? And I'm going to do a quick search and see if Gunnar is. No, I know they've only wrestled once according to the cage match page, or I didn't go on the second page. No, second page yields no results. So this is the only time they have wrestled each other, it appears. But he has been on shows with him before, so maybe they're just more familiar with how each other works. Just by looking at each other. I don't know. They seem to have. They had decent chemistry with each other, I'd say.
It like I felt like it started a little slow. But like those first initial like sequences, like I want to say Ku kept like kicking him in the leg or something at the beginning.
Yeah. So yeah.
It was just like an awkward sequence. I thought just the way you kind of like shake it off, and it reminded me of like Rhiannon and I had just watched Men in Tights the other day, and like when he's fighting Little John and the stick breaks, and then it's down to like the tiny little stick, and he just kind of whacks his fingers, and like he like shakes his hand and like gets back to the stick. Like that's what like it felt like was going on. It was just a little awkward, but once they got going, I thought it was decent.
Yeah, so he did his strikes from afar. Ku did the multiple kicks from afar, and then Ku dumps Gunnar to the outside, and I don't know if this was a botch. So Ku does 2 mid rope suicidas, and I call it, or just a suicida. Do you have a name for, like, wrestling moves better than I do? Is there like a name, like is like a suicida just a suicida, and then if it's a top rope suicida, it's a top rope suicida?
Tope
Suicida?
Yeah, I'm not versed well enough to know that.
And I assume at one point somebody will do this. Like if Orange Cassidy goes through the bottom rope, is that a low pay suicide? I don't know.
I believe I've heard Excalibur call a Lope suicida on Dynamite not that long ago.
Okay, so Tope Suicida, and Lope Suicida. I guess those are the 3 tiers if we're talking about suicidas. Anyways, so I've noticed that Ku dumped Gunnar to the outside, does a suicida, but it looks like Gunnar was supposed to catch him, but kind of fumbled it. So Kevin went in again and did another suicida, and this time, I don't know, the catch was okay. It wasn't like the best suicida catch I've ever seen in my life. And then Gunnar does a belly to belly suplex onto the mats on the floor.
So I was wondering, is that a callback to Kevin Ku versus Kerry Awful? Remember the crowd chanting, one more time, or didn't he give him like an extra dive there?
Yep, he did. I don't know
if this was some ring psychology, Gunnar knowing that he's going to go for the second one after watching him do it against Kerry Awful, he then catches him in the
maybe, but you do have to remember Gunnar says he does not care about him. So would he care enough to watch his matches?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so like because he's such a hoss, he's gonna beat this guy's ass anyways. I don't know.
Letting people think he doesn't care when really he is studying and training at all times. Yes.
He's a captain, and football captains have to look at a lot of plays.
About film.
And film. At replays, film, playbooks, multiple playbooks. I don't know.
Long hours.
Long hours. I mean, being the captain of a team, I assume these are the responsibilities that are bestowed upon you once you are captain. But then again, what do I know about sports?
A good wrestler.
He's good wrestler. That skill translates so well, like
Mm-hmm.
Gronk.
I mean, just ask Moose.
Moose is awesome. I mean, you can't say anything bad
I've
about Moose.
the
He got himself over by
man's a
Big Song.
champion.
He's TNA champion. He is, and I did not misspeak that. He is TNA champion. Okay, so we have the belly-to-belly suplex onto the floor. Kuz ran into the goalpost. Goalpost. Goal. The football is already taking over my head. The ring posts twice. He's run into ring posts twice. Then they get back into the ring. Gunnar stomps Ku in the corner. Gunnar strikes Ku's back multiple times. Then Ku fires up, chops Gunnar. Then that goes into Gunnar going to a side tackle. Ku goes down. Gunnar attempts to pin. He gets two. Gunnar strikes Ku a few times and poses. Now that we've spoken about a little bit about his in-ring work, from what we've seen, has your impression changed of him at all since the promo package?
Of Gunner or Ku?
Of Gunnar.
I liked him in the ring more than I liked him in the package. Like I said, the package felt very lifeless and very like I said, I don't know if he was just because he was trying to play that like cool, like dick who doesn't really care, just out for himself, and he just isn't like a good enough actor or something. But I felt like when he was in the ring, he was more of like a powerhouse kind of dick.
I mean, as Big E would say it, you gotta love, big sweaty man slapping meat. There's a place for that, and there's a place for that in there's definitely a place for that in wrestling. Did you listen to that clip of the New Day podcast? They were asked who would your dream match be with, or what tag team would you like to. I have to send it to you. It's the funniest thing. So Big E is like, you know who I want? I want Goldberg. Two big sweaty men slapping meat. You just have to listen to the clip because it's Big E, and he's just like, I don't care about your 5-star matches. Work great. Work great.
Vince likes.
He's a Vince guy, that's for sure. But yeah, so yeah, I did like him better here than in the promos. I agree with you there. So let's see. So Gunnar does the side shoulder tackle. Ku goes down. There's that pin attempt after Gunnar suplexes and gets a 2 count. Gunnar rams Ku into the corner and keeps him there for a little bit. The C for coward chants start happening again.
Which, like, okay, so I understand you're trying to get into, like, the heel's head and stuff and distract him and whatnot. But, like, there was nothing he was doing that was, like, overtly cowardly, I felt like.
No, he was just taking it to him.
No, like, he was beating the shit out of Ku for a little bit.
Like, yeah, he keeps him in the corner or takes him to the ropes for, like, a 4 count, but, I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah. So I guess it's something you say, but it didn't really make sense.
It didn't make sense either. Okay, so Gunnar continues to strike Ku. Ku is thrown in the corner. This is when Ku grabs Gunnar's leg and unloads. Then Gunnar does a lariat takedown. I noticed somebody in the crowd shouted, Gunnar skips leg day. And then you hear, I think Gunnar yells, no I don't. That got a small chuckle out of me. Ku strikes back, runs from corner to corner doing those typical splashes that you see. Then Gunnar does the same thing to Ku, but then they're in the middle of the ring. Ku does an enziguri. Then Ku does a dragon suplex. Apparently, he has a dragon suplex shirt that I saw. It's not very good, actually. Actually, let me link it to you. I don't like this guy. For like a punk rocker, I feel like his merchandise is lacking. Yeah, here it is. It's not even that good. I'll put a clip of it in the vid. But look at this. Look at this. I linked it to you in Discord. What is this? It's boring.
I noticed his tattoo is more filled in on that one than it is in the
yes.
Dojo Pro.
Yes, it is. But it's
filming.
It's like the text isn't even all inside. Like, I would understand if like Dragon was above the red color, and Suplex and Kevin were in the red color, but Dragon is just clipping into like the red rectangle, and I don't know, man. It's giving me a lot of I don't like this vibes. I like things.
Yep.
Go ahead.
You know, it's counterculture. Maybe you're just not hip to it.
Maybe I am too old. I'm older than this guy.
He's a punk kid. He is a punk kid.
3 years. He's not a kid at this point. I mean, I'm not 40 and saying this is a punk. Anyways, I'm just saying I don't like the shirt very much. And
okay. So if you had to choose between the Kevin Ku Dragon Suplex T-shirt and the Dojo Pro White Belt,
oh God, no! Don't make me choose this, man.
Well, like which one's getting hung up on the wall?
I mean, on the wall, the belt for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking at his merchandise right now. So he does have the Violence is Forever shirt with the person he tags with. There's a Mandalorian Stormbreaker Enamel pin. I'm not sure what reference that is making, and there's a Tombstone enamel pin. So I just don't like that shirt, man. It just bothers me on the level.
Kevin Ku is not earning any fans over here, is what you're saying.
I'm sure he's a perfectly lovely young man.
Oh, kid.
He's a perfectly well-mannered kid. I just don't like that shirt. The Violence Forever shirt is not bad. Okay, I clicked on it to look closer. It's not good. It's not good. Oh my God. I give up.
I
give up.
I like it better than the Dragon Suplex one, I think.
Okay. Anyways, where was I? Right. Ku does a Dragon Suplex. Ku tries to pin Gunnar, gets a 1 count. Now, this is the sequence that I actually really, that stood out to me. So, Gunnar tries to do another clothesline lariat thing. Ku counters into an octopus submission hold. Then does a sunset flip. Then that didn't work, so Ku continues with the kicks, does a vertical suplex to Gunnar. Gunnar's on the floor.
Is that a vertical suplex, or was that a brain buster?
I think it was a vertical suplex. Even the commentators. Okay. I made note that the commentator said vertical suplex, so I guess it's a vertical suplex.
I think he might have missed something.
He might have missed something. I mean, obviously, it's not a super brain buster because he didn't yell it.
Yeah, true.
So Ku goes for the vertical, does a vertical suplex, then moonsaults. Gunnar gets out of the way, spears Ku, jackhammer. There's a delayed pin. Ku slaps Gunnar. Gunnar clotheslines him. Ku's on the floor. Ref pronounces a TKO.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I think it helped Ku. I think he looked strong there. He kept fighting to the end there, and the bigger and stronger man was just too much for the Punk Kid.
True.
I didn't have a problem with the way that ended. I thought that was fine. So Gunnar hits the spear and then hits that jackhammer, and then took a long time to go for the pin. When that happened, I'm like, oh man, they're gonna do him dirty like this. That like he's gonna get pinned by after this long So I'm glad that he didn't just get pinned 1, 2, 3 there. I was fine with the TKO. I think it makes Gunnar look pretty vicious.
I haven't been watching wrestling as long as you have. So the few times there is a TKO in the ring, it's only the submissions they do the lifting of the hand 1, 2, 3 before you can revive yourself, right? They don't do any. Do you know if they do anything for TKOs other than, oh look, he's out. I'm just up here checking. All right, he's out. Like, do they do anything when they check for TKOs? I know it's very rare when that happens.
Not really, because everything in wrestling, as of late, seems to be, borrowing from like the MMA. Like the tap out and all that. That's straight from MMA. Like when I was growing up, there was no, hey, the guy's tapping out. Like it was, I give up. Like he would shout something.
Really, I didn't even know like tapping out was a more.
Yeah, that's a more like modern thing,
okay.
because that's one of those things that got lifted from MMA because like it's a great visual, like it's so dramatic of the guy slamming the mat like I can't take it anymore. But like that was never a thing when I was like a kid.
Okay, all right, I did not know that at all. Then again, I haven't really gone back and watched too many older matches, though I should. But yeah, I didn't notice that.
So like I feel like for like KOs and TKOs and stuff now, when you look at MMA or boxing or anything like that, well when a fighter's out on his feet and he's going down and the ref knows it's over, he's jumping in there and calling it, like, hey, this is done. I'm protecting the fighter. So I think that's where that that felt pretty like I didn't take issue with the ref being like, hey, this is over.
True. Yeah, it does make Ku look really strong in the end, especially when he drags himself in the back at the end. So
I was really waiting for Triple H to show up with an NXT contract at the end of that, at the top of the ramp.
Oh God, I don't want to think about that right now. Oh, that storyline's leaving a bad taste in my mouth for sure. Yet I still watched NXT Takeover.
But I mean, when Ku was carrying himself up there, it was totally one of those moments. The crowd's clapping and cheering for him, and he's kind of like making his way to the top of the ramp, and you're waiting for that big payoff, like thank you, Kevin.
Okay, so Gunnar wins the white belt, the beautiful white belt, and he will be going against Wheeler Yuta, who do you know much about Wheeler Yuta?
I know nothing about Wheeler Yuta.
All right, typically, do you want me to tell you anything about Wheeler Yuta, or you want to just go in blind?
I just wanted to talk a little bit about Gunnar Miller's post-match.
Yes, his post-match his heel intensity interview.
So I really wanted him to. I think the guy's name was Rob Johnson that came
Rob,
in,
yeah.
and and he told him the whole like, hey, like get out of my ring
Yep,
thing.
yep.
Like I feel like he should have hit him.
I wanted him to hit him too, to be honest. I was looking for that to happen.
Felt like that was the promo I wanted Jeff Cobb to have on episode 1. Where he like, because I think he had like one line. He basically said like, I am Dojo Pro, and like dropped the mic, and that was it. Like that is the type of promo I wanted Cobb to have at the end of the first episode instead of the kind of awkward one he ended up having.
Yeah, I just like I told you, I just wanted him to to either to just drop them, don't wait for the crowd to, or just soak in the booze, and then drop the mic and then go tour of the island somebody. He didn't need to speak.
So basically, at the end of this, I was higher on Gunnar Miller than I was at the beginning of the episode. I thought his match and his post match was miles ahead of that opening hype package for him.
He presented himself very well. Yes, I did. His stock for me went up a couple points after that match. But and then after he goes to the
spear
back,
too. Football players are always going to throw a hell of a spear.
Do all football players have a spear?
I mean, it's a football tackle. It's they basically all do. Because that's what they've been training to do since they were 7 years old. Is you put your head on the other side of the guy and drive into him with your shoulder and.
Because Roman has one. Did Goldberg play football?
Goldberg played
this is my lack of wrestling knowledge coming in. The 5 years I've got, guys.
Goldberg was a college, and then he wasn't like a star pro, but he played pro. I think he played on the Falcons, maybe.
Okay. Roman has a spear, and he was a football player. Does Mojo have a spear? Spear.
He has to, or a shoulder tackle of some sort. They all.
I imagine he has to have a shoulder tackle. Did Mongo have a spear? I don't know.
Because I mean, like Mongo would get down in the 3-point stance and come at you and stuff.
Here comes Mongo. Okay. So after this heel intense promo, Ku comes to and stumbles to the back of his own 2 feet. And that's how the show pretty much ends. So, what did you like about this episode? What do you think they could do better? And how you think you would improve it? So, let's talk about what we liked. I did like Gunnar. I think after the match, I did like Gunnar more. And they did present Ku in a better light, I felt. Here, he showed a little more personality. And I really like his fight in the ring.
A bigger, even though you're saying it's not that much bigger. I felt like his story with Gunnar worked better than from in the first episode, and he really benefited from having a bully. I feel like Kevin Ku might have been he might have been bigger than Kerry Awful. Kevin Ku.
Yeah.
And so that kind of hurt. It was hard to take him as the plucky underdog there. Where in this, I think they painted that story a lot better.
I think you're right. What did you not like about this episode?
Like I've been saying, that opening hype package, I think, did Gunnar no favors, and the opening of their match was pretty slow. I felt just awkward, moving kind of around the ring. Once they got going, I thought it was great, but
I think I liked this match better than the previous episode, for sure. I'm kind of still miss on the crowd. I just they seem so
Yeah,
generic to me. Even that C for coward was just like, really? Is that the y'all ain't like a British crowd. Brits come up with like songs and everything. It's amazing.
Well, I mean, because like, are they fans? Or like, are they on the payroll? Like, are they just extras? Like,
Yeah, because you have to buy when for Lucha Underground, you had to buy tickets to go to Lucha Underground. I think.
see,
I
I
don't.
didn't know that.
Because they were. I remember a few. I believe if this is the case, I believe a few times I saw ads for Lucha Underground tickets. So I think the crowd was. I think the crowd actually wanted to be there, for the most part. I don't know. I don't know about this crowd though. I'm just not feeling them. I don't know. And the commentary, I feel like it's better than the first episode, but maybe it's just kind of it's maybe it's a Stockholm syndrome thing at this point. Like I know what I'm getting. I just have to learn to live with it.
Well, what I was saying is that they have. So at the beginning of the episode, they did like a quick little recap of episode 1, and it was one gentleman I have written down. I think his name was Matt Lott.
Yes, the guy at the beginning.
And so they have him. They have that Rob Johnson guy that tried to interview Gunnar Miller at the end. So they have a couple other people, and it's like, but no, we're just gonna have the one guy on commentary, just kind of repeat all the bullet points from the hype package, and then also to like try and like explain the joke of the chants. Like that was his job in this match. It's like,
He didn't
okay.
even. That's the one thing I don't like about some shows is WWE is especially guilty of this. I don't need somebody to explain the joke to me. I get it. I understand the joke. I get the joke. But yeah, as for how to improve this two people commentary, I don't know if the fans are on the payroll. They don't seem very or they've just been
I mean,
told,
to be
"Hey,
fair, they only got like 30 of them, at most. Like it seemed like
yeah,
there's the two sides with like maybe 2 or 3 rows of a bleacher or something.
that's true." I and I also don't know how much the crowd has been told to do. Like for right now during this whole quarantine period, the the crowd in the Raw and SmackDown shows who are made up of individuals from the Performance Center are just merely cheering for the baby faces and booing the heels. There doesn't seem to be any give from management. I've even heard like horror stories of people being on the PA system saying, "Hey, more enthusiasm," as if there's only so much enthusiasm you can have after like 4 or 5 hours. I can't. I feel bad for them. But yeah, I think the crowd is crowd and commentary leave a lot to be desired. But the match was definitely better. So if you had to give this match a 5 out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
Let's see. I think I gave Kevin Koo and Kerry Awful like
A 2.
2.
Yep.
This was better than that. It still wasn't anything great. I would say like 2.5 to 3. Two and a
I give
half.
this a I give this a solid 3 myself. I think
Okay.
I gave the last one a 2.5 to 3. This is a definitely solid 3. A little better than the last episode. Okay, so that was it, I believe. Are there any other comments you had about the episode?
Let's see. I think I covered everything that I had written down.
Yeah, me too. So Gunnar will be going after Wheeler, Utah, which should be interesting. It's a 19-minute episode according to Amazon Prime. So that will be very interesting to watch. Another short episode.
And you say you're familiar with this gentleman.
I have watched him. I watched him in a tag team match with. I forgot who his partner was, but they were going against Orange Cassidy and Joey Janela.
Okay.
There's a lot of personality in that episode.
So a good time was had by all.
A good time was had by all. I think I actually saw Wheeler at a show. I've had to, because I've seen him live before. I'm almost positive I've seen him live before. And I only go to shows with you.
So you're saying I had to have seen him live?
You had to have seen him live.
Okay.
Maybe when you watch the episode you'll remember. I'm almost
Okay.
I'm almost 90% certain that we've seen him live together before.
All right. I mean, it's possible. I've forgotten things once or twice before.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah. So thank you guys for listening to this episode. If you want to hear more from it, just watch it. Click like, do the subscribe thing. You know the deal. You don't need me to tell you stuff. You'll see the end card at the end of the video that I fruitlessly put up because I have no life. Yeah, thanks a lot for listening. And everybody have an awesome day. Stay safe. Please stay safe.